So let's go.
Okay, so hello everyone again. Welcome here in Zoom, but also hello to everyone who's watching our YouTube live stream. So we're starting our third workshop of this day with Juli Sikorska. It's called Urban Heat, Island Living, Designing Sustainable Urban Futures. And before we start, I would just like to share a few information with you. One is I would like to ask you to make pictures and not only of the Zoom, so not only screenshots, but you can just try to capture some creative process that you will be working on with your phone camera. And we will be happy if you want to share it with us. I will share a link to Google Drive in the chat where you can upload these pictures, and then we can save it for the documentation later. But you can also just share it on social media with our hashtags, hashtag Uroboros Festival, hashtag Uroboros 2020, hashtag Docs Prague, hashtag Datamaze. And I will share these hashtags as well in the chat. And we have also this small challenge for social media, which is Uroboros behind the screen, where we ask people to share what's behind their virtual background or how their workstation looks like. So if you want to participate, just use the hashtag Uroboros station. And I will also then share the link for the YouTube stream in the chat. And so that's the boring stuff. And now I would like to introduce Juli. Juli is an independent researcher, strategic and experience designer. She is interested in modern human futures and sustainable futures. And she takes inspiration and methods from creative fields like product design and critical design to generate actionable insights and identify opportunities for interventions in systematic issues such as climate crisis. She had led an ethnographic research project on clean energy and microfinance, worked as an open innovation platform at the MIT Climate Collab, and strategic design projects in investment and telecommunications for established global players and tech startups alike. Her work has been exhibited at Design Museum in UK and South London Gallery as well in UK. And I think Julie also wanted to introduce herself as well. So I think I will just leave the stage to you, and I will be quiet now.
Thank you, Lenka. Hey, everyone. It's nice to see the few faces that I see. The other people who are in the video or in the Zoom call, feel free to turn on your cameras. It'll be more fun for all of us if we can see each other. And I will start sharing my, oh, thanks for turning them on. Super nice. It's also really nice for me to see where you guys are, where you guys are from. Also, if you would like to add the city that you're currently in into your Zoom name, this would also help us see where you guys are from, since we're talking about cities, which will be more fun. So there. All right, cool. Yeah, welcome to the Urban Heat Island or Urban Heat Task Force workshop. You're now my task forces, so we'll be dealing with the urban heat challenges. What we're going to do is we are going to envision a future change to your city over the next 2 hours. So hi everyone, again, I'm Juli. Lenka already introduced myself. I'm a design researcher, experience designer. I work towards sustainable lifestyle, sustainable futures, and I'm hoping to start a PhD in this area soon. I wonder if you guys know each other. I assume not. So for this, I would like you to briefly turn on your microphones and introduce yourself by saying just your name, your current city, and one word about what excites you about living in cities, and then pass the mic to someone calling out their name, ideally. So for me, I'm Juli, I'm in Berlin, and I love street food. And I'll pass the microphone to Lenka.
I didn't know I was participating as well. I'm Lenka, I'm from Bratislava, but I live in Prague, so I don't know which city counts. And I like, sorry, what was the question?
One thing that you like about
the
cities.
city?
Yeah.
Cities, yeah, that it's that I can see many people on the streets, which is not true now during this situation, but usually that's what I like, that it's very busy.
Pass the mic to someone.
I pass the mic to Ivica.
Hello, nice to see you, nice to meet you. I'm Ivica, I'm coming from the nice place at the Adriatic coast. The name of the city, it's Split. What I like about my city, it's because it's a typical Mediterranean town. So I like the sea, I like this social way of living with people in Split, lots of socializing, using public spaces, and all this common stuff which all Mediterranean cities share. Like so, socializing, open space, and the sea. And I will pass my mic to Lourdes.
Nice to see you, Ivica. My name is Lourdes. My current city is Madrid, but I'm from the south of Spain. I'm from Sevilla. What excites me more about Madrid, it's really alive. It's a big city, but also have this sense of community, or like a small town within the neighborhood. So yes, I like that, yeah, that you have the cosmopolitan point of view, but also it's like a little town inside the neighborhoods. And I will pass the mic to Hannah from Stockholm.
Okay, hi, yeah, I'm Hannah, and I'm in Stockholm now, but I'm doing my master's in Helsinki, but I came back to Stockholm, where I'm from, during the pandemic. So right now I'm excited about all the plants and flowers coming in my neighborhood. I'm looking at them a lot because I don't have much else to do in my free time. So I enjoy that. I pass the mic to Sophia from Berlin.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm in Berlin. And what I like about Berlin is how anonymous and connected it is at the same time, and how fragmented and green it is. And yeah, that's it. And I will pass the microphone to Gavin from Stockholm.
Hey everybody, I'm Gavin. I'm originally from the United States, but I'm studying urban planning in Stockholm. What I love about cities, I love biking in cities, people watching, and I guess in terms of Stockholm, I love how there's so much green space and water right in the city center. I'll pass it to Sandra in Amsterdam.
Hi everyone, so my name is Sandra and I'm in Amsterdam, and I'm looking out on the water right now, and I really like water in cities. And I will pass the mic on to Teun, who is in Rotterdam.
Yes, that's me. So, and what I like about Rotterdam is the openness to innovation, especially in buildings and different forms of exploring a new city and new systems at that. And then I pass the mic on to Daniela.
Hello, I'm Daniela, and I'm from Prague. And I study here design. And I really like that Prague is a really historical city and there is a lot of sites, and also it's kind of like green city. So there is like a lot of parks and small areas with forests or something. And that's a really nice point. And I'm not sure who didn't speak yet. So maybe just someone who didn't speak. Juli from Berlin, I'm not sure.
I started. I wonder, has everyone gone yet? Or did anybody not go who would like to introduce themselves? 3, 2, 1. All right, I guess we're all there. Perfect. Then let me continue sharing. And thanks for the super nice intros. It's really nice to hear what we all value about cities. So we are here because our cities
Juli,
are getting. Yes.
Sorry, could you also answer the question by yourself?
Oh, yes, of course. I really like street food. I enjoy walking around the city and just picking up a bite wherever I can. All right. So our cities are getting warmer. We could observe the first signs of cities being warmer than the surroundings in 1810, something that was later coined as the urban heat island effect. In 1976, Britain had a heat wave so strong that it is said that it started the punk movement in the UK. And we are very clearly seeing the effects of climate change on our cities, unlike what we usually say that is very far away and very tangible. So we can actually really experience it in cities quite intensely already. And there are 3 reasons for why cities are getting warmer. We have a global temperature increase from 1.5 degrees to who knows how much this will become. We're hoping it won't be more than 2. We have more and more extreme weather events, such as heat waves. And we also have the urban heat islands where cities are warmer than the surroundings. So the last 2 are the ones that are most interesting for us right now, as they're affecting cities most. So this is what we'll look into right now. And so heat waves are those very extreme weather events that we get, especially between June and September, where we have prolonged periods of extended heat and higher temperatures, like, for example, the heat waves that most of you experienced last year, with temperatures climbing up to 40 degrees in certain areas. And urban heat islands are actually not just, which is the other phenomenon that's affecting cities so much, and it's making heat waves even stronger because cities are just so much more prone to heat than other places. And it's not just the city as a whole, but actually individual areas that you can see here, the example of Berlin, individual areas of a city will be much warmer than surrounding areas. And this can be so strong that even within a walking distance of 10 minutes, you can have 6 degrees Celsius of temperature difference, just by walking those 10 minutes. So if you want to just look at a smaller part of Berlin, maybe some of you know Berlin, this is the hip area where everybody, or where a lot of tourists like to hang out, Kreuzberg and Neukölln. It's also where I live. And if we just look at this closer and overlay here the streets, we can tell that this street here, Sonnenallee, is a really big street with a lot of cars. It's really hot. Here, Karl-Marx-Straße as well. These neighborhoods are getting really a lot of heat. And funnily, also this thing here, which I believe is a concert venue, Tempelhofer Feld. This is also the old airport that has been closed down and turned into a park. And all of this is asphalt. So this is actually fairly warm compared to other green areas like this one, that is just pure greenery. And you can also see here, water, river, all of this is cooling everything down by quite a lot. Okay, so what are we going to do in this workshop? We're going to follow 4 steps. We just did actually look into urban heat challenges. What we're going to do next is we will explore the signals of changing urban climates today. We will speculate on the future changes with looking into 2030, and we will envision ways to adapt or to prevent urban heat in the first place. This is what happened before applying this process. So in previous tries, we asked, what if heat becomes so strong that even young people who are usually very, very resistant to heat, what if everybody just starts wearing their happy compression socks to keep their blood circulating well? Or what if you can keep your home cool by installing gold curtains that would keep the heat? Gold is keeping it out, silver keeping it in, to either add or subtract heat as you want to. What if the different microclimates within the city that happen because of the strong differences in temperature, what if they allow people to start foraging for wild mushrooms in the microclimates of the city? Or what if parks become so frequented so much because of the cooling effects that they have, that if you want to go there in your lunch break or at any, the most used times of the day, what if you have to book your spot in advance? Or what if the most vulnerable populations, the elderly who are experiencing the biggest strains from heat, what if we start building elderly homes that are those, luxury complexes that actually creates the most perfect surroundings for surviving urban heats that we have not yet been experiencing as much here in Europe or northern places? So ideally, in this workshop, we will need a picture of a poster in your city, similar to, I have to go back to this one here. If you have one, if you did not bring one, that is okay too. Then you can just use this one provided by me. And we will now be working in Miro and a whiteboarding tool. If you haven't used Miro before, no problem. I'll start by explaining a little bit. And if we could all just follow the link that I'll post in the chat now so that we can all get to Miro. Or Anna, if you could help me and share this in the chat.
Yes, I will share it. Or is it the link you sent it us before?
Yes, exactly. It's the same.
Okay, so I will just resend it, the link you sent it us before.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can. So here is the link for Miro.
So everybody just follow that link if you have any trouble getting there, right in the chat. Perfect, exactly.
And I will stop your sharing now.
Yes, please. So I hope that we can now all see each other and that we can all also see us in Miro. Actually, funnily, I'm in the wrong one. Okay, is everybody here? Yes, I see a lot of, was anybody not able to join Miro?
Do we need to log in or just?
No, you can just click the link. You can just click the link. You don't need to log in.
Okay.
And I have some technical point that I will be sharing my screen with the Miro board that we can see it on the stream, but you will work in it and just be on Zoom still to have the sound, but you don't have to follow the board in your Zoom.
Okay, cool. Is anybody not in Miro yet? All right, seems like we're all in. Cool. Just a very, very quick introduction to Miro in case you haven't used it yet. The most important thing that we'll be using is making a sticky note, which you can find on the left side of your screen. Exactly, thank you, Anna. Here on the very left is the sticky note symbol, and just try making one wherever you want here, and add maybe again just your name and your city. And this way we'll see that we're all done. This is looking great already. Yeah, exactly. We're supposed to be, how many people? I'm checking.
I think it's nine participants.
9, okay, we have, well, without me, without John is just my helper watching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Daniela. John, do you want to join the Zoom if you're... Okay, cool. This will be the most important thing. You can also jump into frame view, which is at the bottom left corner, and then you can just see the individual frames. And this will help us navigate through this, the different frames more easily. Anna, if you could also just click at the arrows at the bottom left. Yep, further below on the left. No, 1 sec, or should I? So if there are little arrows on in the left corner, the 2 gray arrows. If you click on them, you can extend the side view that shows you all the frames, which then just looks like slides from the side. Exactly, thank you for this screenshot. Thanks, John. This is great. Okay, we can also, who has not found the frames? Also, feel free to turn on your microphone so we can all actually talk more freely. If it's really loud, we can still turn them off, but it might be nicer.
Maybe as you are sharing your screen, maybe you can show the frames.
Yeah, okay. Anna, then I will just quickly start sharing if that's okay.
Yes, that's okay. I will start.
There. Okay, cool. So just quickly here, there is this thing here on the left, in the left corner. If you extend this view and then go here on frames, you can just quickly jump to all the frames that we have. And so this is also the structure that we will be following. And you can just click here very quickly and jump to the next one. Or just you can just move along on the screen. And so this is the entire space that we will be using. It's mainly just this area here. We'll have some individual work that we will be doing where you can just add you can work in one of these areas. I can, I guess, get rid of these as we're not that many people. Cool, great. Also, just one more thing maybe to try, so we'll be copying things. Try just copying a sticky note, for example, or duplicating it. Actually, duplicate is the right thing. And then just moving it, as this is something that we will be doing with the white frames. Or maybe everybody just copy their name. So make it probably easiest, and then we see, yep, cool. All right, this is looking great. Any questions to Miro as we're getting started? I guess not. Okay, cool. So for a start, I would like to ask you, how have you, okay, let's jump to frame number 2, your experience with heat waves. And I would like to ask you, how have you experienced extreme heat? So you can think about the heat wave from last year. You can think about maybe just in general warmer places. Maybe you have found even a heat island in your city. Just note it down and let's just share. Okay, I'm seeing some already. Putting feet in cold ice in the river in Munich. Driving the car in the summer. What about driving the car in the summer? So how was that, I don't know, extreme or what made it, was it pleasant? Was it unpleasant? Swimming in city rivers. I'm assuming it's to cool down. Ooh, someone's used to extreme heat because Seville is usually hot like that. Okay. I wonder what is it like when that becomes, when it stays for a very, very long time. And I assume that Seville may already have really strong heat over a long time. Adjusting your daily schedule, staying inside midday. Yeah, I've done it too. Working from home during the day or from cooler spaces. Sweaty bike rides, yep. Dead grass, ooh, okay. Headaches and bad sleep, definitely true too. Somebody bought a ventilator for the first time last year. Sleeping on the balcony, wow, okay. Last summer, it seems that my apartment was a heat island in a heat island. Yep, can imagine that. Biggest escape were shopping centers because there's the biggest air conditioner. So true. Okay, maybe write down a final one that you have, and then we'll jump on to the next one. Cool, great, thanks for sharing. Let's jump to, or would somebody would like to share something particular? And feel free to really turn on your microphone and share something that was really particular to you. Who is taking the ice baths?
Not so much, but like at least have some ice around and putting it around you, even if you don't have a bath, just like with your feet or just your hands or whatever.
Yeah, so. Yeah. All right, cool. And then let's jump on to the next one, to 2A, mapping stakeholders. If y'all just want to follow exactly. So let's think who or what else is affected by those high temperatures. So who or what else maybe also contributes to them, or who or what helps cool down urban climates. And you can think of people, but also other living and non-living things too. We already have the dead grass, the trees, yes, exactly. What else, or who else? Bees, yes, lakes, water. Buildings, insects, water, fish, yes. Wow, we have a lot of non-human actors. I'm loving this. We can also think more specifically about the different stakeholders among human actors. So among people, are there specific groups, exactly like the elderly that I'm seeing, who are particularly affected? I was also thinking about the workplace or employers. As working becomes pets, absolutely too. Children, homeless, yes, definitely. Insects, also a thing. Yes, businesses deciding to install air conditioners for employees, absolutely. People who work on the street, yes, definitely. People who are outside and in this heat this entire time. Yep, really, really good stuff. Doctors, they probably have more people coming in with more heat strains at that time. Warehouse workers, exactly. Very, very cool, yes. So it can be also really interesting exercise to map the relationships between those stakeholders to better understand who is connected to whom, where are the relationships really strong. So this is something that is really fun looking into, especially when you have more time. For now, I'll also say we'll skip this because this is already really great to have just so many different stakeholders that we can be working with in the next steps. Okay, cool. Let's move on to our next screen, which is to be instances. And here we can see a few signals of changing urban climates that we can already observe. There are articles, and I selected some snippets from them, what is causing changing urban climates and also what effects they have. So now we'll take some time to look into this a little closer. So go ahead and read the post-its and the snippets that are out there. We'll start together in a group, and then we'll split up into breakout rooms for a few minutes, where you can also talk about these things. What is something that you found surprising? You can also spend some time looking into these articles that I linked there. You can also spend some time looking or Googling something about your city, something that maybe you have observed, Googling if that's actually been is it an individual thing? Have other people noticed this too? So let's take a few minutes to read this first, and then I'll ask Anna to put you into groups where you can Google a little more. Any questions on this? All right, cool. Then yeah, just take some time to read, and I'll give you a sign.
And Juli, how much time before splitting in breakout rooms?
Let's say, 3 minutes.
Okay. So I will just prepare it, and after 3 minutes, there will be few people which will get invitation to breakout room, and some people will stay here in the main room. And the breakout room will be for how long, or will we close it just?
Let's say 10 minutes then in the breakout rooms for research.
Okay.
And discussion.
So 3 minutes now, and then
yeah,
then the groups.
Thanks. Just one note, I know that this is a lot of information. You don't have to read everything. You can just look at what is something that is most exciting to you and look into that. And if you want, you can also already go into research or into Googling. And when you're Googling, when you do find interesting stuff, add it to the post-its, please.
So now I will open the breakout room, yeah?
Yeah, thanks.
For 10 minutes.
Cool.
So for people.
I have a question.
Yes.
Should we add the sticky notes deposit here in this black slide?
Yeah, just put it in the frame anywhere.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, so it's Ivica and Lourdes should join the breakout room. Ivica, could you join the breakout room? Yeah, okay, so they are 4 people are there and the rest is here.
Okay, cool. Anna, can I also jump between them?
Yeah, I think you should have it in the below bar. You should see breakout room. It's just next to chat and so on. You see it?
I'll message you to not disturb Sophia and Sandra and Toyn and John.
Okay, so maybe I have to. So I can send you there, and then you can
Okay.
come back. So I will send you now.
Yes, please. Thanks.
I think the idea is that we discuss some of the readings, although it's a lot of information just to read that and discuss, I guess. But maybe you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I'm still reading a bit. I think I don't quite have anything to share yet. Maybe in a few minutes.
Same here.
Oh, hello, John. You're the only one in here.
No, there's 4 of us.
Oh, then everybody's video's off. Okay, I see.
No, our video's on. How can
Oh,
you?
I only see John. Okay.
I'm here too.
All right, good, good. I see you're adding things. People are. Any questions?
Not really. It's a lot to go through. I think it's just a lot of information all at once.
Yeah. So like I said, you don't have to read all of it. You can just find one thing that you found just most interesting and read more about that.
I have a technical question.
Yes.
Does anyone know how you can zoom in and out in the Miro without a mouse?
So I'm on a trackboard and I'm just using 2 fingers to pinch and
Doesn't
zoom.
work for me.
Also in
Otherwise,
in the settings on the top left there, if you click those, it has navigation mode, and you should be able to switch.
Thanks.
There's a button on the right bottom as well where you can say the percentage, 47%. You can click minus on top, plus.
Thank you. So many ways. I couldn't figure out one, but I got it now.
Should we share a little bit of what we found? I think I've found a couple of things.
Please do.
Yeah. So my favorite one so far was the idea of grass or roads which allow grass to grow through as a way to help cool down cities, or to I'm not 100% sure of the exact reason, but I guess as some sort of combating thing. I just never thought about that as a possibility of having grass be able to grow up through roads intentionally. I was looking a lot into that, as well as like colors of things, like the snails that turn yellow or have black stripes in order to cool down, or city or roads becoming a lighter color to cool down, stuff like that. What did you all find?
I was really looking at all these interlinkages between the issues that are raised here. So we started with heat islands, but then it almost seemed that every sort of proposed solution to a heat island would be a solution to so many other problems we have in cities, as in how we use space, and just thinking of like green roofs could help with heat islands, but also with rainfall problems in cities. And then I was looking a little bit into the bees in cities, and apparently I didn't know that, but they are also very much affected by urban heat islands. So it was for me these interlinkages everywhere that stood out.
Very cool. This is also the next thing that we will be doing, just seeing how they're interlinked. So really good observation.
Yeah, what I was really what I find fascinating is that also the distribution of trees is not universal. I mean, the place where I've been, it's usually they try to do it as equal as possible, I guess, between neighborhoods where you have the tree and you can have green space, but that is also coupled with inequality in some other places. So I think that was an eye-opener for me.
Was that from this article, "In Cities, Trees Grow on Money"? Or is it a different article that you were reading?
No, the troublesome connection between city trees and income inequality.
Oh, okay. There's actually an article for that. Jeez. Okay.
And the connection was that areas with fewer trees have, or there is like areas with more trees are usually where people live with higher incomes.
Exactly.
I also see green gentrification, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how that's steering it, right? That areas that become more green in the city usually also become more gentrified.
And also they say, at least in the article, that they were talking about taking care of the trees or the green space around them, especially when it's, for example, I think then when it's a heat wave, of course, then they need additional water. Maybe the municipality doesn't really do anything about that. So I guess that's also a factor.
Yeah, something I was reading about too talked about or I just glanced through that article and it was saying that, you know, or the big quote was, the problem isn't just planting trees. That's not enough, like you just said. And also, I guess there's a problem with planting too many trees, wasn't in another article, the first article I read, which is interesting. So it sounds like a really delicate situation to figure out how much to plant, what's the system behind it. Super interesting. Sophia, what did you find?
I found, I never heard about this paint, that you could paint the streets or the roads or the roofs for the, so it cooled down. And I was like, now reading more about it, and that it's actually something very simple to do, and it can really have an impact in urban, like in concentrations of heating, like more specific, like urban heating islands. Yeah.
Now I'm just imagining like you just buy a bucket of paint and start painting stuff around the city.
I can paint
No
my
permission.
own house. Maybe you can do it in your own like habitation, because like painted something so basic, and like if you can paint your room or your apartment with a paint, and then, you know, like I don't need a air conditioner or it's going to cool down, then it's why not?
Yeah, right.
Mm.
All right, I think that the breakout rooms will be closing soon, so people will be coming back to here. It seems like you've all shared a little, so if you're done with this, you can start thinking about yeah, how they're interconnected with each other, and how effects that we observe within climatic changes, how they affect society, how they affect infrastructure and technology, how they affect these things. And this is what we'll be looking into in the next slide when everybody comes back. Also, one thing that you can think about already is what are the things that are causing it? So what are the root causes that lead to heat islands or that lead to higher temperatures and heat waves? And what are the effects? So what is being caused because of the heat wave? As this is the thing that we want to separate and differentiate between when we look into which are the things we want to work on.
Julie, did you say we should go to the next frame?
I would wait for everyone to come back,
Okay.
and I'm wondering if
sure.
we.
I think there is everybody now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So if everyone is here, in case you may have already heard me, as I was saying to this group who was here, what we want to do now is we want to look at the things that you added and the things that were here already, and the things that you found most interesting out of this. And we will want to move these observations, these signals, to our next frame, which is mapping cities with heat today, 2C. And we just want to place them in the categories: what are we observing about the environment? What are we observing about society? What do we see about infrastructure and technology, economy and politics, governance, legal, so laws, etc. And maybe just take really your most interesting ones, and just place them there. So it doesn't have to be all of them, but just one or two things that you're most interested in, and place them on the frame on the side. Exactly.
Copy and paste or move?
Sure, copy and paste them if you want, or you can also move them, whatever's easier. Nice. I like seeing this. So this is also the really interesting part where we cannot, in those wicked problems as we call them, so climate change is a wicked problem that just doesn't have one particular solution or doesn't have one, cannot be clearly separated from others. And this is how we can really see how environmental issues are so connected to other societal issues, technological ones, economical ones, etc. And also, you can probably see the line here in the middle, the yellow dotted line. Can you also think about which of these are effects of heat islands and heat waves, and which ones are causing heat waves and heat islands? And so if you can move the causes to the bottom, the root causes, and keep the effects on top, as this helps us understand the root of the problem versus just the symptoms of the problem.
We put it as a stick notes there, new stick notes.
You can just move them to the bottom. Right?
Okay.
You can just move them, yeah. Like, for example, green areas can cool down the place. So we can now also see that it's not just heating that is coming out, but it's also cooling down a climate that can result from green areas, for example. Yes, aircon feeds climate change, exactly, by producing more carbon emissions. More pride coming out, that's an effect, absolutely. Higher insect pest abundance as a result, exactly. Here, the one about snail species I'm seeing is that it's both talking about the cause and the effect, because the cause is that banded snail species cool down faster. So if they're banded, it's a cause, they cool down. Okay, cool. This is looking good. And this is really just a helpful exercise just to separate, like, one, see the interconnectedness between the different areas of the problem, really, and also separating the effects from the causes. And this is just a really good thinking exercise, as this can really help us understand what should we focus on to solve the problem. And probably with issues like this one, we'll probably have to focus on both. And this is why we usually talk about climate mitigation and adaptation, or climate change mitigation and adaptation. And mitigation is, dealing more with the causes to really stop further increase, while adaptation will also have to happen to make sure that where we already are experiencing those changes, that we can adapt to them better. So now you can also choose which is something that you would like to be working on in the next case. So now everybody will select one signal that you found most interesting. And also, if we're talking about, in general, in futures, we like to look at both the positive and the negative outcomes of things. And we want to be able to critically observe something that happened, so we can also, think about the unintended consequence of things. But now in this case, when we are talking about creating more sustainable cities, it can be really helpful to look at the positive effects or positive signals that you could observe. So what is something that helps cool down a city, or what is something that helps adapt to heat? So these are the things that are just going to be more useful in this exercise of thinking of sustainable cities. So everyone pick one signal that you find most interesting. You can copy and paste it because multiple people can be working on the same signal too. And if you all want to move to the next frame, instances, 2D, I'd like to ask you all to copy this one and just make a duplicate for yourself so that each of you can work on an individual template to work through your signal. So if you could just exactly duplicate, great, very cool. I'm going to let you do this and write your name in the corner so that we see who's working on it. You can also move it to the screen to the right where we have more space. Unless there's enough space here, then this works too. And if you click on the title of the frame, I know this is a little bit confusing with Miro, but we'll get through those technical issues. If you click on the title above this frame, it will let you copy everything. Otherwise, I can also make quick copies. And then just feel free to grab one and move it. All right, I'm having issues with Miro too. All right, was everybody able to grab one? Who does not have one yet?
I don't have one yet.
Okay, do you want to just grab one of there are some free ones now. And I know this is confusing, sorry about this. I didn't know how many people would actually show up.
It's like, I don't know how to copy it with the white background.
Okay,
It's
just pick, there are some free ones now that you can just pick if you just look. If you just look at which one of these don't have a name on the yellow sticky. And there's one empty one here in the middle, next to, well, if you see my mouse. And thanks to everyone for being part of this experiment and bearing with this. Did you get one now? I wasn't sure who was talking.
Lourdes.
Okay, did you get one?
No.
Do you see where my mouse is? Yeah,
thank
just pick that one. Oh yeah, perfect, great.
Someone do it for me, thank you.
Thanks too. Okay, so now pick a signal from top. Pick a signal that inspires you to think more about future sustainable cities. Something that will inspire you to think more about social norms, movements, communities, infrastructure development, government regulation, etc. And just copy and paste the signal into this into the box on the left, and then briefly think and describe the changes that are revealed in a city by this signal. So what are the environmental changes, social, infrastructural, economical, and legal? Okay, we'll take about 5 minutes for this.
Could you give an example, maybe?
Yeah, so for example, if we pick, let's see, I like to look at causes, for example. Tree planting has limitations. What does it say? Okay, this doesn't quite explain. I'm looking at a signal. Or would somebody have a good one and want to share theirs? No, okay. So one thing that I remember is that, for example, and I'll just be working in this free one here, and you can all follow me. Planting trees also increases the humidity that is then gathered underneath the trees. So planting more trees increases humidity. So what are some environmental changes that would, for example, be exactly humidity under tree crowns? Also, when I think just in general about planting more trees, one thing that I remember from research is that a city that overdid it a little bit on planting trees, it actually started feeling much more unsafe for women. So there was a case where women would feel less safe walking among those urban forests, so to say. I'm going to write that as social change. You don't have to find one for each of them, but just a few things that come to your mind. What happens if a city starts planting a bunch more trees?
Or it's not as effective in humid or wetter climates.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And can it be like positive and negative, or?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And just add whatever comes to your mind. There's not really a right or wrong here, just really whatever you can think of. And we're exploring this. And this is something that you can also keep exploring afterwards. Cool, I'm seeing some cool stuff there. Yep. who needs another minute or two? No, everyone good? Okay, then let us move on to the next step. And I already made copies for that one. So now that you have thought about how that signal is affecting the changes today, imagine changes of signals like this becoming the norm. What consequences might there be? So what could be, for example, that emerge, development, what kind of research programs could be founded based on this? What kind of new businesses could emerge? What would news write about it or media write about this? What kind of new laws could be passed, guidelines issued? This is really where you get to think into the future, imagine your version of this future. And there's really no right or wrong here. This is the time to really speculate, what if? So what if this becomes the norm? What else happens? So again, grab one of the templates, write your name in the corner so that we know that it's yours, and copy and paste ideally your signal again, and imagine what happens in 2030 if those effects are the norm. Any questions on this one? Seems like no, that's good. So let's take again around 5 minutes for this, okay? 1 more minute. Roughly. All right, how's everybody doing? If you're done, could you show a thumbs up into the camera? I don't have a way to see all of you at once, so maybe does anybody need a minute still? No, looking good. If not, scream now. Okay, we will want to move on to the next frame. John, if you have a second, could you help me copy for a story making while I explain? So the next step is where we want to pick really just one or two of the consequences and implications that you found, and think of the ones that you would actually find desirable. So which are the developments that you would like to be seeing in the future in 2030? And let's, or something that you find really particularly troubling could also be an idea, but if you have found some positive things that could happen, let's focus on those, let's pick those. And so take your consequences and implications, and based on those, envision, we want to envision an announcement for social norm, a gathering, community, etc. And we will want to come up with a poster at the end. So if you also want to look at for A, B, and C, we will want to have a poster such as the one that we had above about foraging local mushrooms. So in this case, we will want to start with thinking of a future need that will emerge, who will have this need, and then based on this, you'll want to think, what is an outcome that you would like to see? What is an action that you want to see happen? Who is the target group that you would want to reach with this announcement? Who are other stakeholders who would be involved in this? And this is also where we at the beginning looked into the other stakeholders who are part of the systems, and think about what are the relationships that this target group would have with those stakeholders. Is it a friendly one? Is it a conflicting one? Is there a conflict of interests? And just write it down. And then also think about the resources that you would need for this type of action, and give it a catchy name, a catchy title. And so we'll start with the slide 4A before we move into the poster. I hope that everybody looks like it. Great, perfect, cool. So again, let's take maybe 10 minutes for this. And really from here, we will be moving much more freely to moving to the poster. But let's now take 10 minutes and then we'll check in again. I'm really enjoying reading what you're writing there. The universal basic green. Love it.
Julie.
Yes.
It's a catchy name, not a catchy sentence, right?
Yeah, it's basically just a name for your idea, really. So yeah, catchy name for your idea.
A word.
It's also just a working title because we will later also think of a claim for a poster or an announcement.
So it's not yet the announcement. Okay.
No.
Okay.
And good question. Okay, how is everybody doing on time? Does anybody need a minute? Sounds like no. In this case, we could move a step below to the poster. And here we want to announce the change that you see happening, or the change, the movement that you think will happen, or whatever else you came up with. And this is really just a way to, or right now we just really want to be scrappy and just come up with a very, very quick, like a rough prototype of a poster before yet thinking about making it look nice, but just really making sure that the content comes through and that the action that you would want to announce will be visible, and later we can think about making it pretty. So go ahead and jump to the lower part of the screen, and again, pick a poster for you. And let's take, I think this should be, probably this will be quick, I assume, so we can take about 5 minutes for this step. Pick a call to action. So what do you want people to do, to think about, to search? You know, what kind of action do you want to see them do? A little bit of a description. You can also Google a quick image to support your announcement and say where something's happening or when, like what is the happening. Maybe there's a website to it. Maybe it's a company that would have, or I don't know, maybe it's an open source app, something like that. So make your poster. I really like seeing how the posters are coming about. Let's say, I'll give you a few more minutes, but also for the ones who would be ready to transfer it into a more high fidelity form, so to say, so transfer it into a picture. Below this, you can find a sample image of this poster or of a poster in a city taken with a real surrounding. If you have brought your own, you can also use your own image. You can just paste it in here and then put your poster on top. The idea behind this was to see how our poster would look in a real life environment, ideally in your city. If you want to use this picture, you can just follow the Google Drive link below and just copy and paste this. You can also go on Instagram and go on Instagram story and basically just upload this picture or open this in a story and then just draw with your finger over the screen and just prototype. It's super, super quick. This is really much more about the idea right now. And then we can see how much time we have left towards the end, or also if you want to continue working on this poster towards after the workshop to make it look even more realistic. And let me know if you have any issues with the Google Drive link below to download this picture. And also, you don't have to share it on Instagram. It's really just more to prototype and then save it even from there. If you want, of course, you can also share it. You can use the Instagram hashtags for this Urban Heat Island Living, Sustainable Futures, Uroboros Festival, and Uroboros 2020, which I'll also post below.
I'm having trouble going to the Google Drive link. Could you send it on the Zoom chat?
Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, I see.
Can you do it, Juli, or you need some...
Yes, I am pasting it into here.
Yeah.
There, does this work?
Mm-hmm.
I can also copy these ones if you want to work in here. I'll do it while you're on it.
How to upload photo in Miro? I can't find this.
I think you can just drag and drop from your.
Drag and drop.
I think so. I'm trying to do the same
Okay.
right now.
This is so bad.
Also, if you have a photo from Google, you can just really copy paste from Google directly.
You think?
Okay, this one has loaded, so I'm just gonna make a bunch on the side and feel free to grab one again if you want to use this.
Yes, please. I'm just
Question?
messing.
Okay. How's everybody doing?
Pretty well.
Sorry, say again?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, trying it out, I think.
Yeah, I think it's looking great. I don't think that we will get to a point where we have a finalized poster, you know, the way that we would sit on the streets. But I'm really liking the ideas that I am seeing here. So maybe we can do just a little bit of a share out for now, just so we can go over what you came up with towards the end. Maybe you can share a little bit of what was the signal that you chose, and what came out of it, just so we can use the last 8 minutes for this, before we wrap up. And if you want to work on it more later and create a full-blown poster, I'd be very, very happy to see it. So please also share. But yeah, would someone want to? Who would like to start sharing their signal and what they came up with? Maybe Sophia, can I ask you?
I'm not finished at all.
That's okay. The idea is the thing that counts, and the thinking behind it.
My idea, so I'm to become like watcher. I don't know if anyone is seeing, or because, yeah, so it started with from Sweden. I think the waterways were not good enough for swimmers to swim because it was the algae were too bad. So I started with the whole idea of, okay, let's just fix that problem and maybe use algae to cook also. And so it started with a little problem and I turned it into a movement that is Lake Watchers. So it's a poster and I invite people to become Lake Watchers, and they can come and produce their own algae and cook, or they can clean up and learn how to dive and learn how to do scuba diving in their lakes and help them to protect and turn the lakes into a dreamy place. And yeah, it's
very, very cool. Love it.
Okay.
Do you want to pass the mic to another person?
So I would like to see, I saw one idea from the others while I was doing, and I let me see. I like the one to plant our roofs. I don't know who's that, but
the guest.
Yes, that's me. Still working on it. My computer's a bit lagging, but yeah. So I thought like it started with like painting the roofs, and I was just fascinated by that idea that people did it, and then I was like, oh, it does actually decreases rain, and then I was thinking, yeah, it's better to plant our roofs. But then the idea is just to create a social movement, and sort of it's not, yeah, it's our shared space, right? So most of the time it's not one person, especially in cities, it's not one person having that roof, but yeah, you share it with other people. So I thought like that would be a cool movement where maybe you create like a place where people can gather supplies and stuff in the city, because sometimes that's quite difficult when you live in a big city to get like soil or plants that don't require as much soil, right? Because some of the roofs are not engineered to carry such big loads of soil, water, whatever.
Yeah, true.
So I think, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Nice to work with it.
Cool, thanks.
And I pass it on to Gavin if he has something.
Yeah, sure. So the issue I was exploring, I guess, was on the conflict of when you regreen, that often increases the property value. So there's this green gentrification going on in cities where people are getting pushed out. It's a little lower. It's with the rest. You made a bunch. Yeah, a little up. There you go. Almost. There we are.
There.
Yeah. Oh no, to the left. There's the bigger one. There. So I guess, yeah, so to prevent green gentrification, I thought that you could have green initiatives paired with housing initiatives, or to like rental, limiting rent increase, and then this idea that everybody deserves to have trees in their neighborhood. And so then the poster was sort of like a voting poster for an election. So vote yes for the support of universal basic income, which is just playing off the universal basic income idea. And everybody deserves to be cool.
Cool.
And then
I love it.
I found a relevant little icon picture of justice and a tree in the same. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Cool stuff. You want to pass the mic? You're on mute.
Lourdes?
Okay. Mine is the one with the red logo in the left, this one. So the signal I picked was some volunteers were painting some roofs with reflective polymers. And I imagine a future where in the United States, because this was in New York, there is a movement against Chinese everything. The reflective polymer, the cheapest one came from China. So there is a movement against this Chinese polymer that the city council is buying. And the movement is to buy a greener one and a local one. So first thing is like this Chinese polymer is not sustainable to make it, and also is not local made. So this is my imagination of a future poster.
Thanks. Cool stuff. Do you want to pass on the mic to someone? Oh, I see. Sorry, I just saw from Lenka the message that we'll have to close now. Sorry for the ones who didn't get to share. Thanks everyone who came, who participated. I really enjoyed you working on this with me. If you're interested in doing more of this, shoot me a message. I'll post my email and LinkedIn, or sorry, Twitter, Instagram in the chat. So just get in touch with me. If you have feedback, also please message me and really just connect. And I'd love to hear what you thought of this. Lenka, is there a way that we can stay in here? No, we have to close the room.
Or maybe 5 more minutes if that's necessary.
Okay. No, then just find me on Instagram, on Twitter, Juli Sikorska. Thank you all so much for participating, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Juli.
Thank you, Juli. I think it was really great and interesting workshop. And it was also very pleasant to watch.
Cool, I'm glad.
Really good job.
And
Thank you.
Here we have a message.
Thank you everyone for participating.
We have a message from Lourdes in chat. If we can share again our links.
Oh yes.
So
in the chat.
And if you, I'm not sure if you can also save the chat to your comps. Maybe not, but maybe we can send you after.
Links to what? Sorry.
Your social media or your contact.
Okay, there. Oh, sorry, I just messaged to Lenka. There it is.
Thank
okay.
You.
So Twitter, Instagram, wherever you like to send your messages. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
Get in touch.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.